First of all, thank you very much for giving me your time. The purpose of this, and this is to be interactive, is to get everybody thinking out of the box. I just had a Wall Street Journal article talking about high deductibles, the impact on the patients, people not getting insurance anymore. And so what we're going to talk about today are 5 things every lab needs to be thinking about as they go forward, because your life has changed. Not as your fault, but because of change in healthcare laws. So we're going to go through each one and talk about how it impacts you and what can be done, because actually, in the end, you're probably going to be more profitable than you are today. So stop me at any time, but does everybody agree that their life in labs has changed in the last 5 years? Would you agree? So everybody has one issue or another. What is the key thing that has changed for you? Is it high deductibles? Is it patient utilization? Or is it just regs? What is the key thing that you think has impacted your business?
All of the above plus reimbursement.
All of the above?
Plus reimbursement.
Plus reimbursement. Which I throw in that deductible bucket. Anybody else? Well, the reason I bring that up is, like you said, all of them are impacting you. You know, the old days, I'm in this industry a long time, I've only been here 50 years. If you send a bill to the insurance company, there's chances are you got something. That's gone. Because over 50% of the people in this country have a $5,000 deductible. And it's going up. Okay? So what does that mean? That means you have to think out of the third-party system in a retail system. How am I going to get that patient to our lab? And how do I get them to pay? Because you're not used to collecting, they're not used to paying. And they're going to fight you. So you're going to have to be more proactive. While we go through these steps, they're very simple to do, very hard to implement. So would you guys all agree that that deductible trap I'm talking about is true for everybody in this room? Yeah? Okay, so get this thing going. So what that means to you is you have to change. It's no longer, I'll do it next month, next year. For example, HCA's patient receivable is $5.4 billion. That's primarily because of that big deductible. So your mentality has to be different. When you're approaching that patient, you're approaching them in a retail mentality. How do I get them to pay for the service they need and get money and collect? So it's very important that you guys start thinking out of the box. Like, for example, we have a pathologist, one of our clients. They check every patient before they do the test. And some of these tests take $300-400 to set up. And what they do is they actually call the patient and say, I'm ready to set up your test. I need to get paid. And they also understand that they may not get what they used to get from the third-party payer system. And that a $5 test is key now. I need to collect money on every test nowadays. It can't be, well, I used to get $300 from the insurance company for this. I'm now collecting it from you. Is it worth $300 to you? You have to think that way. I heard somebody talking about you guys have to now give their tests to them in different ways. They're trying to force you into retail, but if you think ahead, you're actually going to use that to get the patient to come to you. Everybody now sees pharma advertised direct to the patient. They didn't used to do that. They used to only go to the doc. Well, they've gotten ahead. They said, I got to sell to you. You want the new heart drug, or you want the new cholesterol drug. So I'm pitching to you, and that's what's happening in our industry now. We have to think retail. How do we collect on everyone? And how do we collect cost plus? Because if it was cost plus, at least I'm in the green. If I try to collect what I used to get from insurance companies, there's a good chance they're going to push back. $4,000 or $5,000 was great. But is that really what you need to move forward? How can you incent them to pay you? Because they're not used to paying you. Unless you catch them before you run it, they are not going to pay you. a lot of companies actually are outsourcing their billing because of this. So are you guys all seeing this? Do you understand that mentality is changing? How are you approaching this problem when the patient has to pay you directly, especially in the past? Anybody thought through that yet? No? This lab in Arkansas did, and I have two of them actually doing the same thing. They now have outbound call centers to go out and collect it. So you have to start thinking ahead on how you're going to get that patient to come to your lab and pay you for it. Okay. So the nice part is technology is available, and we're going to go through a fair amount of technology today. 10 years ago, you couldn't do this. You didn't know who the patient was. You had to go make phone calls. Nowadays, you can use the internet. We're going to go through some technologies today that make it very easy for you to get paid. But if you don't have the procedures, it won't matter. Okay. So the nice part about technology, and we're going to go through and do some demos, is that it doesn't require, if it's a good product, it won't require new software. It won't require heavy IT involvement because everybody's IT group is busy. Do you agree with that? You know, if you get IT involved, it's 6 months, best case. And you don't want to be buying computers. You already have a lot of computers. So you want something that's fast, real time, doesn't cost a lot to get going. So let's take an example. Can you flip this to this other screen? Okay. Here's a typical, this is our system. There'll be more other ones out there, but basically it's a web service. Okay? You don't buy anything, and you shouldn't have to. And using this web service, I can find out the information I need on a patient very quickly. So let's do it the pathology way, i.e. patient's not in front of me, they're on the phone. So that's simple. Type in the last name. Spell it right. First initial and home zip. By doing that, that engine searched 3.5 billion records. You check to see how many identities were in that range, and you notice it says verified, which means somewhere somebody ran that transaction in the United States and validated that data. So you're on the phone, and you say, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Andros, what's the last 4 digits of your social? 6340. Great. When I click on that, you see it actually go up and finish the search. So it's doing an identity search. And you'll see gray bars at the top. That's live 270s going out. Because you need to know their deductible right now. Because if it's over what it costs for your lab, you have to figure out a way to collect it. It's a big change. Simple, but hard to implement. Because they're going to push back. My premiums are up 5, 10%, 20%. Why am I paying you more? That's your deductible. Most people don't know that they have a big deductible yet. So you're on the front line. But if you don't collect it, they aren't going to pay you. So you want to have everything you need to get paid. Now there's multiple pieces going on here. Notice it says missing date of birth. So you want to know who the person is that has the insurance plan. You don't want to have to say, oh, Mr. Andros, who has that plan? You want to tell you, I need Cheryl's date of birth. They put in Cheryl's date of birth. And we have everything we need to submit a claim. But if she has a $5,000 or I have a $5,000 deductible, how much money are we going to get back? 0. You're not going to get a penny. All you did was just pay my deductible for me. Because they're assuming you're getting it from me. At this point, you need to be asking, and here's where the thinking comes through. What is your price schedule? What do you need to get to at least be in the green versus what you used to get? How do you handle that for standard processes? Because you're probably not going to get the rate you used to get. And this article, actually I have one, we'll see it today, the Dark Daily, talked about Safeway shopping labs. You'll see it in a second. They cut their cost by 35%. Why? Because they're on the hook for that $5,000. Just like you, if you want to go get a good price on pants, you just don't go to the first place. You shop. You're now in that environment. So how do I get this done quickly? In addition, I want to be able to look at those deductibles real time. What are the deductibles as of 11:36 a.m. Eastern Time? Not last week's, last month's, right now. Because that's going to help me understand what to collect. Same thing with the co-pays. And I need to be able to collect it right now. Sir, your copay is $20. Can I have your credit card, please? Retail. You're out of the wholesale business by no choice of your own. But you got to collect every penny you can, even on the $5 labs. Because that may be what keeps you from going into the red. Any questions so far?